So let me just first give you a background, because I don't have an education. I dropped out of computer science very early on, and I haven't followed any of the sort of traditional roads in anything that I do. So whether it's art, design, or code, I've always kind of broken the rules or simply not known what they were. So these were the first ever published works that I did. These are rave posters from 1994. But for me, what it represented was the idea that actually computers might be cultural artifacts, or that they would be accepted as drivers of cultural evolution. I would argue that we are now all cyborgs. It's just a little friendlier than the sort of cybernet or Skynet cyberdyne, dystopia. Because in the 90s everybody was talking about being cyborgs as though it would mean that you would plug something into your bodies, and that's something that most people were simply not comfortable with. But when it comes in the form of an iPhone, suddenly everybody will accept the fact that your grandma is now this cyborg with like tremendously extended capabilities. She comes equipped with Google Maps, she can translate any language, she'll be checking in on Facebook. Suddenly she's a cyborg, and yet we're not really thinking about that. So it's all about the algorithms, because even though we don't really think about it, algorithms now underlie all these tools we use. We now take Google Maps as just a given, but we don't consider the algorithms that underlie it. Or people who run websites and are concerned with search engine optimization, they really care about PageRank, but the user doesn't. PageRank is the algorithm that controls how search results are ranked on a page. Because this is an excellent example of something which just appears extremely alien, yet is somehow just implicit in technology as it evolves. So this is kind of more or less looking normal. So they gave me lots of data about historical stock prices, intraday trading orders, etc., and they wanted me to sort of give them a view of that data that they did not already, imagine. And of course, 20-foot inflatable dome outside the museum, the hotel down there, and these were projections of these pieces running in real time. So Illuminations is based on particles moving in a spherical coordinate space, which means they have 1 degree, another degree, and a radius, which ends up actually describing the same coordinates as the XYZ space, but it just means that everything moves in arcs and circles. Then you might choose to draw them in a completely different way, where again the data is more or less identical, but the visual output becomes significantly different. And then that work led to public screen work, where they are actually used as parts of the architecture. So this is in Norway. This is another, so these are actually the images, how they appear on the computer, but actually when they're rendered on a sort of low-res screen, because each pixel here actually costs money, then they appear quite differently. This is in Jakarta, in Indonesia. This was a screen test done by a company called Standard Vision. And so I've been working with 3D printing in different directions. So this is metal. This is quite expensive to do. Very interesting to try to get through airport security. This is more of a gypsum print. And then this is a CNC milled piece in Korean. It must be explored. My approach to software is very different from using a tool like Photoshop, where you find the tools that you need within it and you accept the limitations of the software. Instead, my code has the capabilities that I am capable of putting into it, but it also turns out to have outcomes that I did not anticipate. That's the end.